soap, I'm going to be using my lilac fragrance oil. I get this from Craftivator in the UK, and it's a really lovely fragrance oil. I guess if you don't like florals, you're not going to like lilac, but it is a lovely floral fragrance. And it's a really weird floral because it's super slow. It's really lovely to work with. It's a great fragrance to pick. You know, if you want something you know that's not going to speed up your trace, this lilac, which as we know florals can be a nightmare, is a lovely slow fragrance to work with, and it holds really well in cold processed soap, and you know, it stays there well after the cure, and that's even at the low rates. You know, I'm sure you know if you watch my channel a lot, we can use 3% fragrance in our soap, so at that amount it's still a nice, good, strong, not overpowering, but good, strong smelling soap. Now the colours I'm going to be using are, might help if I get them out of my cupboard, mightn't it? Right, are Lime from Pure Rock Colours, Shimmer Blue from Mica Mama, and Neon Purple from Mica Mama. I must admit, when I quite often look at lilac and I sort of think, I almost think this is a bit too much of a pinky purple, but when you actually hold this little lilac swatch up to the computer of images of lilac, they are pretty well bang on this colour. But you can get some that are a bit more pink, and you can get some that are a little bit more sort of a bluer purple, so that's why the blue's coming in, because I'm going to do a gradient bringing in some of that blue as well. And then in addition to that, I'm going to be using some good old titanium dioxide, which I've got pre-dispersed in here. Okay, so let's get all these micas weighed out and pre-dispersed. Okay, so let's get our soap mixed up. I'm going to make it all in one go. So my oils and my lye solution. Okay, I want this nice and fluid, so I'm just going to make sure I don't overblend it. Maybe just to emulsification, if that. Right. So that's me finished with my stick blender, and if I need to wait for anything else to happen, then I will wait rather than blending again. Right-ty-ho. Now I want to split this off, and I've worked out what I want to split. So what I'm doing is I'm doing an ombre in the main soap, but then I want to do mini drops on the top. So I've worked out how I'm going to split it up. I'm just going to weigh this whole batch and then take the weight of the jug off. Okay, and then I'm going to get it split out into the portions that I need. Okay, so what I've got here is my purple. Now these two, I'm going to be using some squeeze bottles to do my mini drops. So these two, I want some green, and I want a purple again, but I want it a more blue purple. So what I'm going to do is muck around a little bit with that colour. I've got my blue mixed up. Let's add the purple in for that. And I'm just going to add some little touches of this blue that I've dispersed. Okay, so it'll be a slightly bluer purple there. And then the same thing with my green. I've got my green mica here, but again, I want it to be a slightly darker green. So I'm just adding a touch of blue into there to get myself a slightly darker green. Because that's a lime green that I've got in this assessment, which I don't actually want it to be limey. I want it to be a bit more leaf coloured. So I think that will be fine. This little bottle is just going to have TD in. And then let's just get this neon purple mixed up. Now this neon purple looks quite dark in colour, but this is going to be ombreed in, so it's going to be mixed in quite heavily with some white. Okay, so those are my colours that I've got. You can see there's quite a difference there between the two purples that I've got, which I'm happy with. Okay, so let's now add in my TD. Let's now add our fragrance oil. Now, these colours are going to be piping as well as my ombre. So it's always a bit tricky adding fragrance oil to piping, but because I want these as little mini drops as well as I want fragrance oil, I don't want too much of the top of the soap unfragranced. So I am taking a little bit of a risk by putting my fragrance oil in the bits that I'm going to use for piping. So it could go hideously wrong. Okay, so those are going to be my mini drops and my piping. So I'm going to put those to the side, and then we'll concentrate on our ombre first. So that's these two. So we've got to the point where this piping is pretty ready. This purple probably still a bit runny. Okay, a bit softer than necessary, so might need to leave that a little bit. But my green, I don't really want it any thicker than that. So although ideally I wanted to start with my purple, it's not the end of the world. I can just pipe some leaves first and then pipe my flowers onto the top. That will be all right. So I'm going to start with my green before that gets too thick. That whitey pink, that's getting there as well. Okay, so let's start with the green. So I'm going to use just a normal leaf tip. That's the one that looks like a little beak. That leaf tip. Let's get the green into the bag. Now I've only got a very small amount of piping because I've only got a very small bit of piping to do. Okay, so as you can see, not very much in here at all. And then remember, if you've used the leaf tip before, then you know how to do this. But if not, what you want to do is the funny V bit, you want that sticking up so it kind of looks like a beak. And then what you're going to do is just pop that against the soap and then just pull and push back. Okay, so I'm just going to do that and fill up sort of this bottom area of my soap. Quite tricky to get into these corners. This is actually not as firm as I thought it was. Okay, let's try the purple. I might get away with doing it in the order that I wanted. I do think this purple's too runny, but at the moment. So what I'm going to do for my lilac is I want sort of like a centre cone, as it were, to give me some height on the lilac. Okay, and then I'll be swapping out this nozzle. Now I'm not going to be able to do it just yet. Well, certainly I'm not going to be able to do the rest of the piping just yet because I think this is too loose, so we'll come back and do that. Here we are the next day with our soap, and that's come out really pretty on the top. So let's have a look at what we've got inside and see if that, remember the ombre and the little mini drops, so let's see if we've got both of those elements working nicely for us. Let's have a look at what we've got. Oh, look, there we go. Oh, I think that's come out really pretty, those drops. I really like those drops. I always try and get sort of some drops inside the other. So there's the top of it with the little sort of lilac. Would it be a blossom? It's got like a bunch of lilac flowers all together, isn't it, with the lilacs? So let's just have a look at a couple of them together. So there we are with our little mini drops, and that ombre coming from the very light up to slightly darker. And I'm pleased to see that, do you remember that other purple that I did? It did make enough of a difference in the colour to just give us a little difference there in the soap. Oh, look at that one. I've only got 4 inside each other there. Now I've got the green bit off to the side, but I've got the green inside the purple inside the white there. Well, that one, oh, that's a good one, isn't it? I always like when I see a little stack of them. There's the other side of it. Oh, they've come out really well. So there we are. I do quite like those. I like the sort of little bits dripping down from that piping at the top. And I'll just leave you with a final couple of photos of the soap. I hope you like this soap and you've enjoyed the video. If you have, it would be great if you gave me a thumbs up and maybe leave a comment in the comments section below. If you'd like to see what I'm making in the future, why not subscribe to my channel? Thanks for watching everyone. Happy soaping!